Hey guys, it is Julie here with JT.Wealth. In today's video, we are chatting about what's going on with Hyliion and their stock lately. So let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back and thank you so much for being here. Like I said, today we are chatting about Hyliion. So we are going to take a look at their stock and what it has been doing these last few weeks. We're then going to chat about some recent announcements regarding a new partnership for Hyliion and what that means for the company. And lastly, we'll quickly touch on Jim Cramer's outlook for this stock. And just before we jump into all of that great info, my dog Bear here would really love it if you subscribed to our channel. We are aiming for that 15,000 subscriber mark and your support would be greatly appreciated. Plus, I may have promised him a fancy new toy once we hit 15K, so help a dog out. And of course, if you do enjoy this video today, don't forget to hit that big thumbs up button. And if you're in the market for a new investment platform, check out some of the great links down below in my description. Right now, Webull is giving you 2 free stocks for signing up and funding your account, so check them out. All right, now let's chat about Hyliion, starting off with their stock. Now, if you follow Hyliion, you know it has been an exciting few months for them as they went through a reverse merger with Tortoise Acquisitions. Now, back then, the SPAC company was down around that standard $10 mark. And upon announcement of this merger with Hyliion, we saw that first initial jump up in share price. From there, we leveled out a bit, but then the stock just soared leading up to the closing of this merger. And we saw highs that were nearing the $60 mark. Since the merger was completed though, it has been an interesting few weeks, and unfortunately, I don't mean that in a good way, as Hyliion stock has gone down over 50% from those highs and is now trading down around the $23 mark. Now, in my last video, we'd seen a lot of decreases and I was hoping we found some resistance at $30, but that has not been the case as we continue to see this stock decline. But since this company went public as a SPAC, this is not altogether surprising, as there was so much hype leading up to this merger, and then afterwards, news went relatively quiet and some of that excitement died down, so we saw this decrease. Maybe it decreased a bit further than we expected, but the decrease altogether was not a big surprise. Now, I am invested in Hyliion, and I still am invested. I have not sold throughout this decrease. Even when it was up above $50, I wasn't really even considering selling just because I did purchase this as a long-term investment. So today I just want to look at a couple things we've seen recently that make me feel this is still a solid long-term play once we recover from this SPAC excitement hangover that we're in right now. In my last Hyliion video, I chatted a bit about Thomas Healy, who is the CEO of Hyliion, and in a recent interview, he made some statements regarding social media and how he has been getting a lot of crap about not tweeting more. And it's fair to say that there are a lot of retail investors that own the Hyliion stock, and we do have a lot of people who are buying the stock on Robinhood, he said. It's on us to figure out an appropriate way to communicate the group, but it's not going to be every day. We're not there to hype or pump because that's not a good approach. So of course, this is a very level-headed approach, and I think it's smart. He's just focusing on building the business. But luckily, we have seen some positive news on Twitter recently, with the most notable being Hyliion announcing a new fueling partnership with ANG Natural Gas, including a pre-order of up to 250 Hypertruck ERX vehicles. So working with this leading natural gas provider, Hyliion will be reducing costs and helping expand an already robust network of stations, while they look to build additional infrastructure and sell discounted renewable natural gas to Hyliion customers. And like I mentioned, this does include a pre-order for up to 250 of Hyliion's natural gas-powered Hypertruck ERX electric systems, and it will be building new natural gas stations for qualifying Hyliion customers near their locations with no customer paid upfront costs. Now, in an October 2nd interview with FreightWaves, Thomas Healy told them that his company's business plan didn't include adding to the nation's 700 natural gas fueling stations. Now, ANG operates 58 stations in 17 states and has more than 200 fleet customers. But locking in a no-cost infrastructure expansion for compressed and renewable natural gas is an advantage for Hyliion. A robust and highly scalable infrastructure is critical to the adoption of our electrified solutions, Healy said, and that's why we're working with A&G to reduce costs and enable us to offer our customers refueling stations where they are needed. So under this partnership agreement, A&G will be providing Hyliion's qualified Hypertruck ERX customers that run each of their trucks at least 100,000 miles a year, which is not hard to attain in a trucking business, with a fueling station upon request. So that is a pretty sweet deal. Now, in other positive Hyliion news, we have an article from Cat Transport and how their natural gas trucks are getting a boost with Hyliion's e-axles, as they are taking a new step in their natural gas propulsion approach as the company's first hybrid truck hit the road a few days ago. It was in 2014 that Cat first announced their intention to convert their fleet to compressed natural gas and signed a long-term lease agreement with Ryder. But the drawbacks that they have seen and what the drivers have criticized is the lack in power, and that the engine was more subject to overworking on a hill, increasing the internal heat. So in came Hyliion for the win, as their product helped the trucks from working too hard on hills and also added additional power on demand. Hyliion's software is used to store energy when the vehicle rolls on flat terrain or down a hill, and the system also includes an auxiliary power unit, at the heart of which are additional batteries providing up to 12 hours of cabin cooling, eliminating engine idling. Now, all of this together gives them the added value that they lacked previously in these trucks. And initially, Cat intends to equip 5 trucks with the Hyliion hybrid system in order to evaluate its performance. And if things are going well, the goal would be equip the 100 or so trucks in the fleet. It all depends on the results that the product will give. Now, I am certainly not a specialist when it comes to trucking and different engineering feats like this, but to me, it sounds like more companies are trying out Hyliion's system and are so far impressed with the results that it is giving. And this, of course, is going to lead to more purchases and more fleets converting their trucks to Hyliion's technology, which is why I think long-term this is going to be a very solid company. On that note, let's take a quick look at what Jim Cramer thinks about the Hyliion stock. Now, Jim Cramer recently stated that the electric truck company Hyliion has a compelling story, but be patient on the stock. He advised investors to hold off on buying shares of the newly public electric truck company, and that stressed he found the company's story compelling but worried about its present valuation. I kind of like the story, and I think it's worth buying if you can get the stock around $20, maybe less. Now, he has been largely skeptical of the large influx of new EV companies, especially those merging with SPACs. And we know we have seen a ton of those lately, and they all came with a good bit of volatility as well. For Hyliion, though, Cramer does believe that there are a lot of positive catalysts for the company, and he likes the fact that it's a hybrid solution which can be retrofitted on existing trucks, is already on the market and takes advantage of existing infrastructure for compressed natural gas, and also owns its own battery technology. Now, on the other hand, he does say that Hyliion isn't doing anything necessarily revolutionary here, as we do already have trucks that run on natural gas. But ultimately, Cramer said Hyliion's strategy of focusing on powertrain systems is a smart one, as they figured out that designing a new truck was a fool's game. You've already got truck makers with lots of capacity and happy customers. They realized they had a better shot at slightly improving those trucks with a new and improved powertrain, rather than starting from scratch. Makes sense. In the end, he does say that Hyliion's stock was just too darn hot for its own good. And as far as the bottom line, given the trajectory of these SPAC deals, he does think that it'll see some lower lows before bottoming out. And of course, that is very possible. We've had a lot of red days for Hyliion lately, so we might see it getting even lower, but hey, this could just be another great buying opportunity if you're holding it for the long term. On that note though, these videos are just for information and educational purposes only. Any trades should always be done based on your own research, due diligence, and your own risk tolerance as well. Now, one last piece of Hyliion news that I'm going to quickly touch on, just because I'm sure I'll get some comments about it, and that was a recent report that came out from a short seller regarding Hyliion. Now, we've seen good bit of these reports lately, the most notable being the Hindenburg research report on Nikola, where basically a company with a short interest in the stock will put out a report trying to highlight the wrongdoings of these companies. inevitably trying to make the stock price fall so that they can profit. And some of these reports have very valid points, so I don't mean to dismiss them whatsoever, as I do think it is really important to always look at both sides of any issue and get the truth. However, some of the financial gains that come from these reports could kind of be put in question there. Anyways, this report was put out by a company called Bonitas, and you can see the report here. So Bonitas is not a research company that I'm super familiar with, and it isn't an overly lengthy report as well. They just have 7 points that they go through down below. However, I'm not going to go through the report at all with you guys. There wasn't anything I found to be extremely damning in it. If you are interested, my friend Jack Spencer did a great video kind of going through it and just discussing each point that they make. So I'll include the link up to his video here if you want to check out just a little bit in further chat about that report. So that is my update on Hyliion on their stock lately. I wish I had much better news that it was just going upwards again and we were seeing a lot of gains. I think it'll be a slow and steady climb for them though, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm a long-term investor, so playing that long game, I'm looking ahead to a few years when I think this company can really make something great and have a very solid and profitable business. And of course, I am encouraged by seeing the new updates about different partnerships they're getting into and just companies trying out their technology, liking it, and looking to implement them into their fleets. So I think we have some very solid outlook for Hyliion. But that is just my opinion, of course. I always love hearing from you guys, so please let me know, what are your thoughts on Hyliion? Do you think long-term this is a solid buy, or do you think it just crashed after that peak and it's never coming back? Let me know down below. And again, just a reminder, any trade should always be made based on your own due diligence. I'm not a financial advisor. These videos are just for your entertainment and information purposes. If you made it all the way to the end of the video here, you better give us a big thumbs up and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and cheers.